Welcome to Thunder Nerds. I'm Brian Hinton.
I'm Janelle Pizarro.
And I'm Frederick Philip von Weiss, and thank you for consuming the Thunder Nerds, a conversation with the people behind the technology
that love what they do.
And do tech.
Good. Hey. And we're here at VueConf US 2019.
Sure.
Yeah,
I think so. And where are we at? What's the location?
Tampa Bay, Florida, at the Strauss Center.
Yeah, and we're here with our special guest, Krystal Campioni.
Hi, everyone.
You did it. Good job.
Yeah, thank you. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us today. And when are you speaking?
Today at 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock. Oh, wow. Yeah. So coming up. Do you mind telling our audience a little bit about you and what you do?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a front-end developer at Shopify. I work in one of their product lines called Oberlo, and that's where we use Vue inside of Shopify. I've been working with front-end development for almost 10 years now, and actually did a bunch of different stuff like working with games and virtual reality and this kind of thing.
Oh, cool.
So that's why, like, today I'm going to talk about animations with Vue, just like grabbing everything that I know into one project that hopefully people are going to find fun.
That's awesome.
Okay, I'm really super intrigued. Okay, don't give us the most amazing thing because that's clearly for your talk, right? But give us like the third best amazing thing.
That's complicated.
And go.
Just think about the second most amazing thing, but then go to the third.
Okay. I guess that the third most amazing thing is going to be talking about integrating Canvas with Vue.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. So one of the examples that I'm going to give in the talk is how to integrate Canvas with Vue and do some interactive stuff. It's pretty fancy, I guess. So yeah.
Can you actually make a Vue Canvas component?
Yeah,
I mean, I imagine
you can. You can.
Yeah.
So basically, you can just wrap the Canvas tag with all the functionality that you want inside of a Vue component and just reuse it.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah.
I like that. I mean, it makes sense you could do that. I mean, why couldn't you? But
Yeah.
I never thought of that.
I was watching one of your videos yesterday, and it was that one where you were making that Viking game. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, that's actually one of the examples that I'm going to show here today, the Viking
Yeah.
Do you think you learn and teach better by like making like small games and things like that?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, the reason why I created this Viking game thing, I didn't create everything by myself. I just like saw this game example in a course by Maximilian Fatzmüller. Like he created this game, which is basically you press a bunch of buttons, and then you can see the life bar of like your character or the enemy increasing or decreasing based on whatever is happening on the game. And when I saw that, I was like, that's cool. Maybe I can like turn this into like a game that's actually closer to what we usually see.
Yeah.
So that's why I decided to do that. And basically because I was learning how to work with Vue by doing his course.
That's so nifty. Would you recommend for other people to learn by that, like doing that thing as well, like game logic? Do you think is helpful for learning new frameworks?
I mean, I think it's fun and something that helps me understand better, like the concepts of the framework or the technology that I'm trying to learn. But I can't say for everybody, right? Because everybody has a different style of learning, I guess. So it's something that works pretty well for me. And probably can work for other people that also enjoy video games, I guess.
Cool.
Yeah, this is a question I like to ask, and I forgot, and the last person to ask. I like to get a behind-the-scenes look of what you went through to actually prepare your talk, because that's a lot of people think something a lot of people don't think about is all the work that you have to actually slim it down, and just can you share a little bit of that with us?
Yeah, for sure. Like. Actually, what happened to me was that I was working on this thing, and then I said, maybe I should create a talk about it, because it's nice. But on the other hand, I didn't want to just like show people something that they would not be able to use in their work, because creating a video game with Vue, it's super nice, but like, what can I do with it? Right? So it's kind of useless. So then I actually talked to some people, and I decided to show how you can use the same techniques in like some real world examples.
Yeah.
So basically like the work was, okay, so let me think how I can apply this thing into like an actual serious project. And it was like a lot of time that I actually spent on this talk, just because it's hard to come up with ideas and try to make the slides something that people can actually understand, because if you just put a lot of code, then it's hard to read, or I mean, you don't want people to keep reading all the code during the time.
You're not there to do a demo.
Just read those 300 lines of code.
Yeah, so it's really hard to like pick what parts of the code you're going to show and where and everything. So like this whole process is really complicated, especially when it comes to like the time that you have to speak.
Yeah.
So like measuring your time and kind of like doing it right. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to manage it today, but hopefully, it's really hard. Yeah.
Have you done any before, like practice sessions anywhere, or?
I mean, this specific talk I've presented before in some other conferences, so it's like okay, I guess. Like hopefully, I'm not going to faint before I enter the stage.
But at home, do you have to do it? Like, do you do it with friends or
I do.
Here, I'm going to present this to you. Sit down for an hour, please. I'll tell you about
I'll buy you a pizza.
Yeah, exactly. And it's usually something like that. Yeah,
exactly.
Go on. I'm paying attention.
Did you have a hard time narrowing it down into the time frame?
Yeah. So basically, what I did was that I created more examples than I needed, and then I just like.
That's a good idea. How long is your talk actually going to be?
25 minutes.
25 minutes. Okay.
Wow,
like
that's a lot
optimal time.
down.
That's like a good time, because then you could like everybody's focused, everybody's entertained, everybody like 25 is a good time.
I heard a good way to do talks from one of our guests, where he said that instead of making it like super informative, just try to make it as like you're hinting at the little things that are going to be coming up. You don't have to go into great detail, but it's more about the importance of sparking the interest and saying that, yes, there is value here. I'm going to show you a little bit of it, but take this home and, watch the movie later.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite analogies and comparisons into that. I love that.
Yeah, it is pretty awesome. Well, speaking of like animations and stuff, that's super nifty. We have, so you have SAS and CSS, and less and all of those that you could possibly animate with. How is it different to animate in Vue than it is in just, JavaScript, HTML, and CSS?
Okay, so I think that it's easier because of some stuff that just comes out of the box with Vue. For example, the transition tags, something that I find really powerful, because it just saves you a lot of work in terms of if you were to implement that functionality by yourself. And also computed properties is something that I use all the time for doing animations, because basically you can change some value and then adjust something in the properties. Or, for example, one other thing that I think is really useful to implementing animation, especially when you want to create a cascading effect, is using a V4 to look through a list, and then you can use the index of that element on the list and pass it down to a method that does something. So there are lots of like little details that I really enjoy when I'm working with Vue to create animations.
And that creates kind of like a seamless animation experience, as opposed to like maybe a little bit choppier and trying to figure out Bezier curves and things of that nature, right?
Yeah.
That's super cool.
So does that come into the part of like your talk being advanced animation? I mean, we could talk about just animation, but why advanced animation? Okay,
so I have to be honest with you about this one. It's just because it's really hard to like define what is advanced. Right? So it's a really
it's all advanced, really.
Depending on who you're talking to, it's really advanced, or it can be just like really basic if the person knows what you're talking about. So it was just marketing, like the whole advanced thing. I don't know. You guys can judge afterwards if it was advanced or not.
You're animating on canvas too, aren't you?
Yeah.
So I mean, I consider that's
advanced.
Okay, so at least one part is advanced.
Are you able to use those built-in Vue properties, the transition with Canvas, activate it for that? Or?
That's actually something that I didn't try yet. I mean, I don't know. Yeah,
I stumped her.
It's a good exercise.
Yeah. I'm curious.
So how did you actually get into development?
I actually started working with design. So back then there was no such division as like front end and back end, and everybody kind of did everything. So I started programming basically so that I could have control of the things that I would want to do, and I wanted to like be able to do everything by myself. And then in the end, it came to a point that I said, okay, I have to focus on something because it's impossible for anyone to be good at everything. So
I don't know, Frederick.
That's true. I can't deny that.
I'm not so talented. So for me, I had to choose, and then I thought it was fun, the whole JavaScript thing, and I focused on front-end development.
Awesome.
Why Vue?
Because, okay, how can I say that? I mean, when I compare Vue to the other tools that I've used before, I think it's the one that makes me happy.
Oh,
that's fair.
I love that.
Oh, I think a lot of us here in the building get that.
Yeah, so that's the main reason, I guess.
Yeah,
I like that. It makes me happy.
I'm not frustrated when I use it.
Yeah, it sparks joy.
Yeah.
It's actually very readable. I mean, the previous guest, what was her name? Maria talked about how she loves the docs. And in a way, almost when I've used Vue, you don't even really need the docs half the time because it's just so approachable. It's so friendly. It makes sense.
I think it definitely has. Evan echoed this out when he was on our show a while ago, that it has maybe a little bit of an easier point of entry than some of the other libraries.
Definitely. Yeah. And that's actually one of the reasons why I started working with Vue, because I was working in a company that still had a legacy system that was built with jQuery and a really messy spaghetti code. And the reason why I managed to convince them to use Vue was that it's easy. Like just as jQuery, you can just drop this thing here, and start using it like step by step.
Yeah.
So that's actually one of the things that I think is really, really nice about Vue.
And also to cite Evan, just having the way that they have just the one line to include it in, like you could just include it in and you could just jump in and start using Vue.
Yep.
Like that's so powerful.
Super powerful, especially for this kind of situation. Like it's amazing.
Yeah. It's really even to use it on CodePen, how you can just include it, and like to do React, you have to do these weird convoluted, like you import React and you have to get some module package to get some little thing to work, while Vue is just works.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, what would you say to get started with animating with Vue? Where would you recommend for people to start?
Well, I guess that Sarah Dresner is definitely a good reference because she does a bunch of like tutorials and courses and stuff and books. Like everything that she does is really, really helpful to understand like how you can start creating your own stuff, I guess.
And she has a great community too. The what is it? Animation. I don't know if you remember the name of it.
At work?
Sarah Dresner has a community. Yeah. Is it Animation at Work?
I think so.
Yeah, she's awesome. I think we had her on the show.
Yeah, we had her on the show.
Yeah, she's awesome.
And she's also going to be speaking today.
Yeah. She's going to talk about the future of animation.
Ooh.
What's coming up?
Whose animation talks better?
They're both better.
Yeah,
what are you
they're both
talking
good.
about?
Hers is in the present. Krystal's is in the present. And Sarah's is in the future.
They're different parts.
Yeah.
But hers is
they're
advanced.
both amazing.
Is hers advanced future?
Hers is in advance now, which is leading up to Sarah's. So she's making it easier for Sarah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
There's
Cut
a
it here.
timeline going on.
Just causing hot drama here. That's all.
There is no drama, but everybody's amazing.
No
You're all
drama.
fantastic.
Everyone is.
You're all beautiful, okay?
Exactly.
Just letting you know.
So if you weren't doing this, what would you be doing?
Not front end, you mean?
Yeah. What if you couldn't have a computer? What would you be doing?
She's like, sorry? What?
Yeah.
No. I don't know.
What if you were restricted from computers? What would you be doing?
That. I don't know. Probably doing arts and selling stuff on the beach.
Ooh.
Like painting
that.
seashells or?
Yeah, something like that. You know, artistic and hippie, I guess.
Do you paint?
I do.
Yeah, oils or acrylic or what?
Acrylic.
Acrylic, nice.
Yeah.
That is really cool.
Painting's so good for you. It's very like calming and.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a pity that it doesn't pay the bills, but I mean.
Yes, you have to pay the bills to be able to paint.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately.
Yeah, starving artist thing is definitely true. Have you ever animated one of your paintings?
No, I haven't. That's actually something that I thought about doing, but then I thought about the work that it would require and the amount of time that I'd have to spend there, and I was like,
Ooh.
Yeah.
Speaking of time, how long do you think total it did take for you to prep, like build this whole talk out?
That's hard to say because basically I did everything in my spare time. So there were like weekends that I would just like work on that, but other weekends I wouldn't, and I wouldn't touch the thing for like months, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's complicated, I guess.
Years?
No, not years. Maybe 6 months.
How many times have you gave this talk?
This is going to be the 3rd time.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Have you made any mistakes in your previous ones? Like,
lots of them.
Lots of
them. Like I was just reviewing the slides before I came here, and I was like, okay, why did I use this? It doesn't make any sense, you know. Like, and then I'm always like changing things. So every time that I present the talk, I guess it gets better because I managed to review everything that I built and hopefully make adjustments that make more sense.
So you essentially don't do the same talk twice.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, living, breathing project.
Oh yeah.
What would you say as a piece of advice for anyone who wanted to do a talk?
I guess that the first thing is just like try it out. You know, like submit for a call for papers, even if you don't have a project, because I remember that the first time that I spoke in a conference, I just had an idea, and then I submitted the text about the idea, and then I got accepted, and I was like, oh shit, I got accepted.
Now I gotta do it.
Yeah. Now I have to find time to do it.
Yeah, that's a way to definitely get it started.
So then you force yourself to do it. So I don't know, it worked for me. You know? I think it was interesting. Yeah.
I wonder if there are any people that submit it and they get accepted and they're like, I don't know what to do. And the day comes, they're like,
He's walking on stage. Hey, everybody. Here's my summer vacation slides.
Yeah.
God, I had a good time at Disney.
Fun fact, I have literally seen a speaker like write their stuff quite literally 20 minutes before they go on stage and give the most amazing presentation I have seen ever.
Hey, sometimes that's the most authentic way to do it.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
David Cam looking at you.
Yeah. Speaking of which, we're going to be doing that at the Front End Design Conference coming up next month.
Oh my gosh, we're giving a talk.
Yeah.
Yay.
Frederick's going to rap on stage too.
Yeah, it's coming up. Yeah. Be ready.
We are not. We will not be
Definitely
rapping.
not rapping.
We will be slowly walking backwards.
Backup dancers.
We will.
No, I'm not.
Yeah. You already did it on camera. So, Krystal, what would be a good piece of advice as something that you'd like to bestow upon the audience? Any kind of final words as we're getting close to the end here? Any words of wisdom?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that the most important thing is to keep learning because there's always stuff to learn. And I think it's also really important to not compare yourself to other people, you know, because you can only compare yourself to yourself, I guess. And then like it's
what mirrors are for.
At least for me, like I only compare myself with like what I was 6 months ago, you know, and then I can see some progress and that's good.
That's awesome.
But if I start comparing myself to people that know a lot more than I do, it's really depressing. So don't do that. Yeah.
I like that. That's really strong advice.
I love that.
Yeah, I think we're all we do that a lot. Like, man, but Frederick's so amazing. He does everything.
I know,
That's
right?
true. But it's just not, it's not healthy and it's not constructive to do that. You know, you only could, like you said, measure yourself by what you've done. And then you could see like, oh man, I've made so much progress in X amount of time.
Yeah.
Imagine what I'm going to do in like another year or 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So what's the best way people can get a hold of you? We'll obviously put links in the show notes, but what's your website, Twitter handle?
Everywhere is Krystal Campioni. So on Twitter, on GitHub, on Medium, or my website is also krystalcampioni.com. So just Google and you can find me for sure.
Awesome. Fantastic talking with you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Krystal. Looking forward to your talk today.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you for the invitation.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Our pleasure. Yeah. Thank you.
Literally our pleasure.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll have more coming up.